Hello, Team American Studies. Welcome to Norland Productions. As we were going through your essays this past week, we wanted just to remind you of 10 things that you should keep in mind. And we're creating this video so you can watch this over and over again as you're making the final touches on your essays. Most importantly, let us know of any questions. We're here for you through extra help and with specific questions on email. And we really encourage you to take advantage of those opportunities. So here we go. Number 1, topic sentences. There's 3 things that we really wanted to make sure that you remember about your topic sentences. Number 1, make sure that each topic sentence articulates one very clear goal. If there is lists in your topic sentence, it's probably too broad, too long. You want to have your topic sentence have as few words as possible. One clear goal. I should read it and know exactly what your body paragraph is going to be about. Number 2, your topic sentence must use language from your thesis. So for example, if you say individualism somewhere in your thesis, the word individualism needs to be a part of your topic sentence. You should be able to draw an absolute line from a word or phrase in your topic sentence to your thesis, and it should be related. It should be very clear how your topic sentence proves a part of your thesis. Number 3, after reading your topic sentence, it should be clear how it connects to the previous body paragraph, how it is moving your argument forward. Let's look at 2 different examples of topic sentences. Furthermore, it's impossible to maintain total control of your destiny. Even in America, it's challenging to fully reinvent your opportunities. It states the main idea of this person's body paragraph, and it uses language such as furthermore, the underlined word, in order to show how it connects to the paragraph before it. I bolded the language that connects directly to this person's thesis, which is total control of your destiny. I assume that that is a part of their thesis. It is. Let's look at this second topic sentence. In order to accomplish this goal, America must create a society that challenges individualistic values. It states one idea. The underlined phrase, in order to accomplish this goal, directly connects to the previous body paragraph, and that body paragraph solidified what that goal was. And then it uses language from the thesis, challenges individualistic values. So these 2 topic sentences do 3 different things. Number 1, it clearly states the paragraph's main idea. Number 2, it uses language from the thesis. And number 3, it shows the reader how it connects to the previous body paragraph. If you do these 3 things, your topic sentence will be magical. Number 2, how to set up evidence. Now you have to make sure that you don't just jump into your textual evidence. Instead, you need to A, make sure that you provide historical context. That's what Mr. Norland has been emphasizing. Number 2, if you're using literary evidence, make sure that your reader is prepared for that literary evidence. And C, make sure that when you're doing these things that you don't just summarize the plot or summarize a historical event. Remember that Mr. Norland and I are your readers. We've read the books, we understand the material. So we just simply need to be prepared for how the evidence is going to relate to your argument. Let's look at an example of this. Historical context. Starting in 1928, Herbert Hoover celebrated the values of individualism so much that his position on rugged individualism defined his term as president. There's my context. Hoover considered individualism an essential component of the American system and even contrasted this ideal to and then the evidence continues. At a minimum, this is what your historical context should look like. I know where this evidence came from, and I know how it relates to Herbert Hoover and his big shtick as president. Let's look at this from a literary lens. More figuratively, there's my transition into literary evidence. Fitzgerald uses the high society's response to Gatsby to highlight the inevitable failure of this kind of reinvention in America. There's my context. I know how it's related to my big argument there. Many people in Gatsby's upper class community do not see Gatsby the way he wanted to be seen. He is suspected of being a killer, a spy, and so on. Then I can start my evidence. I don't feel like it's random. I feel like I'm prepared to understand how these pieces of evidence relate to my argument. Let's summarize where we're at so far. So the first parts of your body paragraph need to contain topic sentences that state one main idea, use language from the thesis, and also make it clear how that topic sentence is connected to the previous body paragraph. You also should make sure that you provide context so the reader is prepared to understand your evidence. Number 3, analysis, the most important part of your argument. Now, we wanted to emphasize 3 different things about analysis. A, it's impossible to have sophisticated analysis without meaty evidence. So if you want to improve your analysis, the best way to do that is to improve your evidence. So make sure that you've chosen meaty enough evidence that validates your argument. B, your analysis should have 2 different levels. You should first explain your evidence, and then C, explain how your evidence proved your point. You need to have both layers. So again, explain your evidence, and then explain how that evidence proved your point. Let's look at this example about The Great Gatsby. Even though Gatsby fought hard to reinvent his opportunities, and did so monetarily, the elite upper class still questions his identity. There's my context. Nick's description of Gatsby's funeral shows the ultimate rejection of Gatsby. There's my transition. Hopeful, Nick says, the minister glanced several times at his watch, so I took him aside and asked him to wait for half an hour, but it wasn't any use. Nobody came. The depiction of Gatsby's funeral is particularly sad when compared to Nick's lengthy description of the people at Gatsby's parties. Here comes my analysis. The lack of attendance at Gatsby's funeral compared to the attendance at his parties illustrates people's aversion to him. There I explained my evidence. I interpreted it. Here's my second layer. Thus, Fitzgerald shows that Gatsby is never included in the high society and therefore fails to completely recreate his opportunities and gain control of his own destiny. I just, in one sentence, explained how my evidence proved my topic sentence and thus my thesis. Analysis can be as short or as long as it needs to be, but you need to make sure that you've achieved both of those objectives. Then this writer goes even further. James Truslow Adam implies the importance of reinvention when he coined the American dream. Life should be made richer and fuller for everyone, and opportunity remain open for all. Here's my synthesis. Clearly, Fitzgerald questions the reality of this sentiment and would wonder how Reagan planned to execute these ideals. So remember, once again, for your analysis, make sure you explain your evidence and make sure you explain how the evidence proves your topic sentence and thus thesis. It all fits together into a nice puzzle. Number 4, what is society? Now, we really want to urge you guys to be careful with the word society. Remember that society doesn't do anything. Instead, be very precise about who you want to do something. Is it American? Are they the American citizens that you want to do something? The government? Are you talking about education or media, social norms or accepted values? Be very precise with your language. Number 5, we wanted to remind you guys of what components should be included in the introduction. You should have some kind of hook that entices your reader to proceed further. However, this can be really short, really precise. It doesn't need to be some kind of cheesy anecdote. Please no dictionary definitions, and please don't do vast generalizations. Then you should have a general discussion of your topic, delivery of necessary context, get your reader prepared for your thesis, and then you want to smoothly transition into your thesis, again using those transitional phrases. And remember that first impressions matter. We want to read your introduction and be excited to read your paper. Number 6, the conclusion. This is going to be our final impression of your essay. So it should begin with a restatement of your thesis in new words, and then you want to extend outside of the classroom doors. We encourage you to do a final validation of your thesis through an application to the world outside of the text. So maybe you take it to a personal level, maybe you take it to a current event level, but it should answer the grander so what question. Then you should provide some kind of closure. Don't end with a question. Instead, you want to end with a final boom statement. We should read the final sentence and think, that was a sexy paper. I am so glad that I read that. Number 7, think about flow. By flow, we mean both the order of your body paragraphs and also the order of your sentences within the body paragraphs. Really think about how you move from one body paragraph to the next. Is it logical? Then really think about how you move from one sentence or one idea to the next. Do you need to add transitional words, phrases, or sentences? How can you guide your reader more smoothly through your paper? Let's look at these examples. I pressed the return button after each sentence, which is a great strategy for making sure that your flow is logical. So here's a sentence. He stated that because the Republicans have restored the government to a position as an umpire instead of a player in the economic game, American people have gone forward in progress. Here's my next sentence. Thus, there's my transitional word, Hoover strongly believed that federal government involvement hindered America's crucial values of individual liberty and freedom. Next sentence. These values are reminiscent. So the phrase these values shows how it connects to the previous sentence. And then my next sentence, although individual liberties aren't important. So again, the word although is my sign for how it connects to the previous sentence. Just adding those little words makes such a difference because it shows your reader how you're moving your argument forward. Number 8, mechanics. Please remember to cite correctly. Your citation should be at the end of the sentence, and for every citation, since we're using so many texts, you should have the last name, space with no period, then the page number, then the period outside of the parenthetical reference. Also, tense is hard since we're using a variety of nonfiction and fiction texts. For nonfiction, because it literally happened in the past, you should be using past tense. For example, Carnegie argued that. However, for literature, it's still alive today. You say that the picture Mona Lisa smiles. It's not Mona Lisa smiled. So you would say that Faulkner highlights that, and so on. So make sure that you're consistent with tense in terms of genre. Number 9, we can't stress enough to take advantage of the class material. We've strategically chosen these texts and strategically designed these lectures in order to give you so many perspectives to work with in order to write this essay. So take advantage of all of these different perspectives. Number 10, most importantly, we really want you to take this week to produce work that you feel proud of. We've been working on this since the very first weeks of school. Show us what you've learned, show us what you've gained from this unit so far, and produce work that you're proud of. We're excited to see your final drafts. Again, please let us know of any questions, and we hope you've enjoyed Nordland Productions.